Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Have you ever felt like you really wanted to try making some art, but you didn't know where to start or which supplies to get? Well, this is time for art. Sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself. I'm Hershey Petty. I'll be your host for Time for Art. If you're joining us for the first time, just want to remind everybody, our theme for this month for June 2022 is tranquility, which we all could use a little bit more of in our lives. And today we're going to be learning how to draw the second of our two drawings this month. I don't know if the green screen is getting it. It's the lotus. This is the part of the lesson on Mondays where we really get down and we learn how to draw before we learn how to paint this thing. So what you're going to need today, you're going to need a sharpened pencil, your sharpener, you'll need your journals, you'll need your graphite paper, and then from your templates, you'll get it you'll need at least one of these, maybe two, I believe, these grids, and you'll need your lotus here. The template challenge is going to be due this week, actually. So if you're joining us for the first time, our template challenge is we take all the templates that came this month with the Tranquility theme box, and we want to tell a story. So get in your journals, take some of these transfers, use that transfer paper, put them in your journal, and tell us a story. Have it turned into us by Friday at the end of the day, and we will be picking a winner over the weekend. So can't wait to see what you guys all do there. And as always, before we get started, the only one rule is there are no rules. Have a good time, sit back, relax. If you want to follow along with the artist, go ahead, kick back, get a cup of tea, whatever your favorite drink is, and follow along. But don't forget to chat with us inside the comment box at our Facebook Live. That's the only way we know you're here. And if you're not live and you guys are watching this on your own free time, remember, we do 2 live streams a week. You guys can see us on Mondays and Wednesday nights where you can follow along and learn how to either paint or draw on any given night. So without further ado, let's say hello to our resident artist, Allison Crary. Hi, Al.
Hi, Hershey. How are you?
I am wonderful. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth. Absolutely. And I think tranquility is a nice kind of message.
Agreed.
For Agreed. Like it's the right energy for the day. So I'm pleased to offer that. All right. So today we are going to draw the lotus, and on drawing days, we have out our 2 transparent grids. One is going to go over your image. The other is the one we're going to check our work with, but we don't want to be too tethered to these. That's why we make them movable. And to get our grid on there, we're going to get started with our grid. To get our grid on the paper, we're going to get started with the transparency. Go ahead and take out your labels or whatever you're using to anchor to your sketchbooks or to your canvas panel. We're working on our sketchbooks today. So just like this. And of course I'm making it hard. Just like this. All right. And what you're going to do is tuck your graphite paper, sticky, shiny, waxy side down between your grid and your sketchbook. And you're just going to mark all of the crosshairs of your grid.
Yes.
Just like how I'm doing.
I really like that method instead of putting the lines in. It's a lot less to erase.
Lot less to erase, and because we're learning spatial relationships, we don't want to be too fixed on our grids, right?
Sure.
And then I've got this taped down, so I'm going to use the straight edge of my transparency, but you can use this, you can use anything you have, and I am going to trace the border just like this. And this is just to help us.
Right.
And it's really helpful even just to have the same size proportions of the picture plane as what we're working on to kind of bounce things off there. And this is practice. Every time we do something like this, we sort of become better artists. We become better at seeing spatial relationships, better at drawing as a language, just better technicians of the craft. So if you struggle, if this is hard for you, if it's all conditioning for the type of artist that we're all learning to be. And I learn something every time I do this. It's always a challenge. And
Yeah.
Always, yeah. Just don't think for a moment that this is easy for me and hard for you. It's always hard. Okay, so we have our picture plate in. We have some markers, and if you look really closely at your reference, you have in this instance little white lines that I'm going to go ahead and mark off like this, indicating the same thirds, so everybody can see them. And we do this so that they don't interrupt the picture plane, but let's make it more clear. And we are going to use these as guideposts to our drawing.
All right.
The first thing I'm actually going to put in are the easiest pieces right here. And it's going to be these kind of leaves. They kind of look like palm fronds. Maybe they're more like bamboo shoots, but these are the leaves and they're in yellow. And this is one of my favorite paintings in the whole collection that we've done. It's done with only 2 colors, yellow, and they're complementary colors, yellow and violet. And so the leaves are in yellow. The tones of the lotus are in violet, and the in between is kind of where the magic happens because they're complementary colors and they kind of gray each other. They gray to more of a taupe, but that's kind of how this is done. So the first pieces I'm going to put in to anchor our composition are these 2, and this one is completely contained to this third. And I'd say this comes to the first, if we're breaking this into thirds, the first third here, and I'd say maybe the first quarter right here. And it kind of has this kind of convex contour like that.
Right. I see that. So those are the plant leaves that the lotus
grows. The lotus kind of grows around. Yep.
Yep. And
then the next line that we're going to put in hits about right at the halfway point. And I'm on this side of this line. And if you look right here, it's barely in this first third. It's like it hits like right here. And this is more of a straight line. And so we're going to connect these with a straight line. And you can take a look at your negative space here. If anything, I'm a little tight. So I am going to move this over a smidge. And then this piece right here, it's narrow and it gets wider. Right? So I'm going to say it's about this wide here, and it's about a quarter into this third.
Yeah.
Maybe a fifth, not quite a quarter. And this is more of that concave or that convex line. And so this is going to come around like that. All right. Who we got on, Hershey? What's
so far? It's just Melissa and I just saying hi. I think everyone else is putting their if they're anything like me, they're still I'm still putting my borders around my photo or my drawing aid space.
Absolutely. Well, welcome.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go ahead and put in some of the additional lines here. So I'm going to go ahead and this line kind of starts just on the other side of this third mark. And it's going to kind of wiggle in like this. This line, that's this kind of darker side here. Same thing exists over here. This kind of wiggles in like this. And there we are.
Here we go.
Next, I think the best way to go from there is I am going to start with the center and work our way out. And let's go ahead and drop our grids. Grid here. So maybe a grid here just marks right here. And if we look at the center area, and that's the center of our lotus flower, this kind of circle area kind of exists right in here.
Like the heart of the flower?
The heart of the flower center exists kind of right in here. And this center petal that we'll probably build these two petals, I think we'll build a lot off of. That I'd say this line right here, this side of the petal, that's almost the direct middle of this region right here. So that's gonna kind of come right here. The petal goes over the line, comes back around this way. So I'm just putting in kind of some basic points here, and then we'll draw it in. And then this sort of cup-shaped petal, that's going to come below the line here, over here, and kind of around this way, right here. Keep moving this around. So just like that. All right. So we have the center that's going to come around this way. I'm going to go ahead and erase this side of this line because it's going to kind of get in our way as we draw in our petals, but we know where they are.
Mm-hmm.
This petal, this comes up and around like this, kind of ends right here, around this way. This one comes up like this, down like this. There's this side of the center that comes around this way. And this one kind of crosses this region over here, kind of comes around to the halfway point over here, and makes way for the petals to come up and around this way. I'm just going to get rid of some of my little stray hairlines, put in my more confident lines.
Right.
This one comes up and around.
You know, you mentioned that this one might be difficult to draw, and it certainly is a little more complicated than I thought it would be.
Yeah, flowers are tough because they're kind of perfectly imperfect.
Yeah, painting it's going to be real fun because it's the, you know.
Yeah. This one is kind of around this way. All right. These are really, I think, really definitive shapes and kind of funky.
Yeah.
And I like that. I thought this might be up a little too high as the center, but I don't think it is. All right. So we've got these in. I'm going to leave my grid here. It's kind of helping me build from the inside out. All right. So if I look at this corner, which is this corner, I am going to take this petal. I'm going to draw this petal in right here. And this is actually two petals, but I'm going to draw it in as one.
Okay.
We're going to come up and over almost to this line right here and come back around and down like this. And then this comes up, around and down like this. And this comes up and over like that. That's that petal. This guy I've got in. This looks a little wide through here. I might tighten this up. It's more like this. Around and down like this.
I do have to say, I really enjoy recreating drawings because you have that reference point to know how well you're doing.
Oh yeah, and it's just really good practice, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next, I'm going to put in this petal, and this one it tucks right underneath this one. So it's going to come up and around. It's going to come off the picture plane right about here. It's above the halfway point between these 2/3 marks.
Yep.
And right over and down right here. That's falling right in line. And we can check this negative space right here with the leave. So we have this shape looks a lot like this shape. This shape looks a lot like this shape. So that checks out. This shape looks about right. We'll put in this right here. And this one comes over and down like this. And over, kind of catches right here, around and down. Like that. We'll erase the leave out from under it. And we catch some of the underside. Just like that. This comes, if this is the line right here, we catch just kind of the corner of this right around here. Bless you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And this kind of around and down like that. These two leaves I'm going to draw in together. I'm actually going to start with this one. This one starts kind of right at this junction of these two. Comes over and around to about here. Okay, about here. Kind of the 2/3 mark. It's going to come back up and over around here. That sits kind of right there. This one starts about right here on the petal above it. Comes around and down like this. Comes up and over like that. And this is the underside. Top kind of sits right in here. Like that. I'm going to adjust this here. This is a little high. And if you look, this point right here is right here. So this line comes underneath that point, not over it.
Good eye on that one.
Well, and you just kind of, that's what the guides are there for, right? You're just, this is just breaks down your spatial relationships just a little bit more. So this kind of comes over and hits right here. And this shape is about right, this shape. All right, this one right here starts right here, kind of ends right here if we're looking at this box and where it ends. So this is going to come in just like this and like that. This one overlaps this leaf, ends right here, comes up and around this way and over this way, this line right here. We've got most of this in.
Yeah.
You really do. This one, this is a really good indicator. If this point is this point, this starts right here, comes on this side, just barely into this, kind of this sort of nugget right here, comes up and over here, comes up and down right here. And this last one starts kind of right here, comes up to here, overlaps this leaf right here, and back down there.
Bada boom, bada bing.
And there you have it. So we're going to go ahead and drop the second grid and let's make some comparisons. Looking at shapes. This is looking about right. 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 This kind of, again, I'm only demonstrating because this is how you check your work. That kind of comes around more like that. This looks good. This, if you look at this negative space, I'm a little big here. No need to be this precise. I'm just showing you how I work.
A fascinating insight into the mind of an artist.
Yeah, look, good luck. Rough place to be. All right. This, I moved this line, but I didn't move the inside line. So this. More like this.
I know we're not painting today, but is the black background on this, is that made with the purple and the gold together?
Just the purple, if you
Just
can
the
believe
purple.
it.
Nice. Okay, cool.
This is a little wide right here. See how this is like barely there, crossing into this quadrant, into this third.
Yep.
So I can tighten that up if I wanted to.
That's good. It'll give you more view of that bamboo behind it.
Yeah. So again, is this important? It's certainly important on a face. It is less important on a flower, but the act is. And that's where we are with it. So we're 23 minutes in. We've got a good looking drawing. All right. If you'd like, we can start kind of erasing out some of these marks that we made. Go ahead and move our grids. Just like that. And we're going to start putting in our background. And our background, at first she called it black. It really is just our dark purple. But this is going to be as dark as your pencil gets. So I'm just going to start putting that in. I'm taking my time.
Have you thought about your template challenge? What are you going to do?
I want to do something with the yoga poses.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think they're super different. And I might do a pattern.
I love it.
With our yoga pose people.
The patterns that were really ended up being one that I enjoyed. I think it's so visually appealing.
Yeah. So I might do something like that.
I have no idea.
Which I
think is a commentary on how much tranquility might be in my life.
Yeah. So I'm just filling this in with my dark.
Pushing the hardest down so it gets the blackest.
Yep. And this is going to be our darkest dark. And we'll build up from there. And we talked a little bit about this before. That it's important to put in the background as a reference point to build from there.
Yes.
And so filling it in. Since this is practice, I mean, it's nice to be really consistent, but at the same time, we're doing a quick drawing, right? This isn't something we're going to spend
Right.
days or weeks on. So
Just for
I'm
our
okay. Yeah, I'm okay with some inconsistencies
here.
in the texture of my background here. But let's say you aren't. You can take your time and really etch in.
Those rubber things really works if you want consistency back there.
Filling this in. Just like this.
See where everybody's at. The chats are real quiet today. You can tell when that's challenging people, you know?
Yeah.
Mm.
All right. So I've got it filled in. I'm just going to kind of do a once over. Any place I see some light, I'm going to try and fill it in. And you see how just more like how different that transforms your drawing right away to get that dark background in.
Yeah, for real.
All right. So now I'm going to start Hershey. Where are our next darkest darks?
Looks like on the outer edges of the petals.
Right. So what's the next one I should put in, do you think?
I would say I would start from the middle and do the outsides of the petals. Was that?
I would agree. All right. So I'm looking at this one. And this one is probably darkest right around here. And around here.
You're right.
This one is probably darkest right at this tip. Right here. This one is darkest right along this edge, and it gets kind of the curl. This one is darkest along here, around and down here.
Yeah, this is one of those drawings, like you were saying, it comes together as you start putting the shadow, the highlights in, and the dark part, it just comes right together.
So especially in drawings like this, or in images like this, where the darks are really definitively dark. If you put in the darks and then you have everything else, you really get a good grasp on the basic lights and basic shadows, and then you can kind of fill in the halftones in between. And so this one is darkest kind of underneath here. And if you look, actually, this petal is mostly dark.
Yeah. Yeah, just a little bit of white at the bottom.
Same thing here. This petal, if you squint, pretty dark. I'm just going to kind of fill this guy in as a mostly dark, not completely as dark as our darkest darks, but that's a mostly dark. This one is darkest along this edge. And along here. And then again, mostly dark. I'm going to kind of fill in the interim there. This one is darkest along this edge. Right here. Fill this in. Like that. This one darkest along here. This one darkest along this line. Fill it in. Around this way. Much like these were mostly dark and in shadow, up here, these are mostly light, right?
Yeah.
So maybe darkest along this edge right here. And darkest along this edge, these edges right here. All right, this guy, and I'm looking, this line kind of hits more like around here. Now that I have more information in, this gets a little, not quite as dark as our darkest darks. This line, same thing. And then in here, this is kind of variegated. Darkest in the center. And kind of along this edge.
Did you watch that? Wasn't there a Lotus show that was called Lotus this summer? Or was that
Oh, the White Lotus
White Lotus?
on
Yes.
HBO. That was quite a show.
Yeah, it was.
All right, so we have our basic values in. I'm just gonna kind of clean this up. If you look, I think we've got kind of this area maybe gets, I'm just kind of going back and forth. This petal gets a little darker through here. This petal gets a little darker through here. It's about a hotel. That show.
Yeah. With unsuspecting guests, like the stuff was going on they weren't all privy to,
Ooh.
right?
Yeah. This a little bit more tone in here.
And I don't know if anybody went and saw the new Top Gun, but people have been going crazy over Top Gun.
Yeah, I have not. I recently watched the old one because I hadn't seen it in 20 years.
And what'd you think?
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say doesn't disappoint.
Right? I was really shocked that Tom Cruise, who I'm not super fan of, but like, man, can that guy get me back in the movie theater? Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to like him, right?
Yeah, right, exactly.
I just don't. And then you're like, all right, no, he's held up. And yeah.
I'm excited to go see it.
Just kind of filling this in right here. This one here. This is a little bit patchier, and I'm going to kind of try and get some of that going on. Anywhere I'm like kind of bleeding into the wrong petal.
Yeah.
Fix that.
Well, I realized I forgot to color when I was coloring the background. There's a few negative spaces I forgot to color in.
Yeah, and that's what it shows you, right? That's what the values in. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I'm gonna clean up this around here. this along here. This one actually came together faster than I was anticipating. I really get this line in. There's a little bit of tone in here. In and around and down here.
Ooh, we got Nana Brown. She's watching.
Fantastic.
Hi, Nana. Good to see you.
Oh, Nana, always good to see you. Comes around like this. We're like this. All right, so I'm gonna hold this up so we don't get some to avoid some glare here. But I feel like that's the gist of our lotus.
All righty. I'll show you.
Yours is looking really fantastic too.
Nice work. Nice work.
And then just to go back a page, that was our Monstera.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and sign this guy. We're wrapping things up a little early. Everybody remember, template challenge is due this Friday. We're gonna paint this guy on Wednesday. And thanks for making art with us today.
And you guys you don't want to miss Wednesday because there's gonna be a ton of color mixing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're very excited. There's gonna be a lot of the trial and error with that color mixing. So join us on Wednesday.
That trial and error, the color mixing.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite paintings of the whole year.
Yeah, right. That's
really,
exciting.
really beautiful one. All right. Well, we will see you Wednesday. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys. See you next time.
Bye.